So we know what Bad Mouse is playing. Do we know what Hayes is playing?
We do not. Which
I
I
think he's playing Asteroid Sanctuary.
yeah, need something if he rolls out with those asteroids. Yeah. No, we were discussing in chat. Obviously one of the reasons, for a few reasons, Hayes and Joe didn't play it out. They pretty much feel like they have equal ownership on whoever wins anything, and then also, another reason to not reveal their decks in any capacity, so no one could kind of take time to talk about how you'd game plan against these unknown decks.
So we see Bad Mouse waiting patiently here. Hayes.
No, Hayes. We saw Hayes just a second ago. He leaned in to give him a dap. He's probably, I don't know, smoking or talking with his teammates, trying to figure out strategy or whatever. Because he did just. Oh, that was Brendan. That was. Yeah, because he did just play Jeff, right? So he did just play Hayes' teammate. So Hayes has a pretty good sense of. And Bat Mouse is basically playing the exact same decks as yesterday. I believe. Well, he's playing the same decks. I don't know, what cards he has, what adjustments he's made. Sounds like he might have made some adjustment for the OB meeting matchup. Um, this game's on DraftKings. Just waiting for Hayes to show up. We could talk to Batmouse, but maybe let him have a moment to decompress, I think. Um, and
Let
then,
him leave him alone with his thoughts.
yeah, I know these feelings before playing kind of big matches. You don't necessarily want to,
Probably in
kind
the
of put
zone
on the
right now.
fake smile face and kind of chat your way through something. You want to kind of probably thinking, looks like you might actually be on the phone. So yeah, tractor beams. Man, tractor beams they're pretty annoying.
Yeah,
you know,
but it
we,
takes a
we,
lot to get it going.
yeah, we definitely try to in D&D we talk about it. We don't want to just shield every single thing we think is cheesy or whatever. So it does require kind of some commitment to get going. Um, and also like it does also mean uh that you put some effort into it. It's also particularly strong against certain decks. Like if you have like 5 ships, tractor beams are much worse, right? Like you can't really fight off like a no idea stack with just tractor beams, for example. All right.
Do we know which sides are playing first?
No. I saw briefly. It looked like It looks like he's shuffling his card
I
deck.
think it
Does
might
the
be
good?
that mouse on light, just judging by that starting effect right there. Nope. So we see
Obi-Muning.
Hayes on Obi-Muning.
Yeah.
Big
So team
surprise.
looks like Team 5 did keep their Obi-Muning lists.
I think on paper this is a pretty good matchup for SYCFA. It just depends on whether or not Bad Mouse can get through a tractor beam.
Yeah, basically. Yeah, I mean, so we saw this on Twitch stream yesterday. Batmouse won or lost by 1 to Jeff. And then we know that Batmouse won by more than enough to win the match earlier against Jeff. And so when we saw it yesterday, basically Jeff was doing a good job just running around on Chewy Falcon. And
Yeah.
Batmouse missed a tractor beam one time because Jeff had their tracking us, but also that was pretty. It was in the middle of the game where Jeff had plenty of time to find their tracking us. It's not like, oh, we got lucky or whatever. Um, and so it'll be interesting to see if Batmouse made some adjustments for this deck, or if his play line is just different, or if it's just a matchup where, sometimes a little bit of variance bounces one way or another and that favors a certain player. And also just a reminder that we do have the second stream, which is just started up. That is at Yoshi13, I believe, twitch.tv/Yoshi13. I might actually keep an eye on it. So. Pretty exciting that we get to multi-stream our semifinals like this.
Definitely.
In fact, if you're watching over at Yoshi13, we already see a pretty active board state already going on. There's a lot of local sites on that board. There should be multi-stream option is just I think you just type multi.twitch.tv and then the two different things. Like we don't have to you don't have to set up anything special. Okay, so SYCFA, we see again the three standards for text here, a million voices crying out, and effective efficient graveyard. Hayes is starting Obi-Wan's hut, which is a little bit different than yesterday, where they were starting Yoda's hut. So this might be a different variation of the setup. So, we talked about this, some good detail yesterday, but just sort of recap, as we know, SYCFA is a pretty space-heavy deck. He wants to flip on turn 3, get the Star Destroyers deployed a little bit cheaper, get some good retrieval going, get some big drains. Hayes, conversely, is going to set up probably a Cantina Shuffle. And once you kind of get that Cantina Shuffle going, he has some decent drains going on there, but doesn't necessarily have enough to race SYCFA, and he has to get into space. So the biggest question to me, can Hayes stay in space? Can he get a Han Chewie Falcon up there and kind of stick? Yeah, like Justin's saying, probably the Obi's hut does sort of tell you that he's going to be playing Celebration, because if he's choosing to start Obi's hut, that means he's going to basically pull the 4 other locations, the 3 Tatooine sites, Cantina, Mos Eisley Farm, and then the Tatooine system. Otherwise, he'd be a little short on activation, and you would just start Yoda's hut because you can pull Obi's hut with Return of a Jedi, which obviously is a card you don't mind playing multiples of because it sort of piggybacks off of your it piggybacks off of your epic event to let you add a battle destiny.
Yeah, but it's probably gonna be tough to get celebration to stay on the table versus Bat Mouse's deck.
Well, they had weird stuff going on yesterday. I mean, they didn't play Tatooine system in their deck yesterday, so they might have realized that that was a good one-time gimmick, but they want to move to sort of a more traditional build. Um, but so we'll kind of have to see what's going on here. They might be playing Risas, which would be a little weird, because if you start Yoda set, you can just pull the Obi set. Um, but so I've seen some lists with Risa. And so a big thing for Hayes, if he can get it going, is you definitely want to try to get a turn one drain set up in the Cantina, probably. You want to try to get that early pressure going quickly. Yep. Yeah, I get it. Like, but they knew Bat Mouse was in this bracket, right? And this has happened a couple times before where people veered right into it. So he's kind of letting us see his opening hand. Looks like he opened hand the farm. He opened him a 3PO polar, opened hand Anakin. I think there's a Lando in there that I saw too. I did not catch Bat Mouse's hand.
Probably some Star Destroyers.
The traditional start. And we know from yesterday that Bat Mouse also is playing Bridge. Obviously, it's a pretty standard activation. I need to mess with what works. We see Grabber, Secret Plan. Yeah, I agree with Justin. Obviously, if you have an opening hand, an Abyss, which is okay, I guess. Not really. I mean, like the thing is, for Abyss, you need. I don't. This besides the Master Lukes, there's not that many copies of multiple things. I guess you might have multiple Resistance transport, maybe multiple Huntry Falcons, maybe multiple Anakins, but it's a little narrow here, I think. Yeah, Ray, but effectively, you need to trigger at least once for it to be worth the card. And they're all low destiny things that Hayes is going to really prioritize getting out of his deck. Digging out with 3PO, digging out with 3 apples. Yeah, it doesn't unfortunately do very much here. See Batmouse quite drive yards out the 2-1 system. Yeah, so I found his war room, so at least he didn't activate that, which is good. He draws a few cards, draws up, and says good. And as previously mentioned, we do know that that mouse did beat Jeff Levine on an OB meeting list. I would imagine probably pretty similar to Hayes's in the
Yeah.
top 8 by about 13. Yeah, as Justin's pointing out, this used to be a good matchup for Yoda meeting. I beat SYCFA at least once in the last month or so. as Obi meaning. It's all about speed, right? So a big thing is that it takes time for the SYCFA deck to get up and running. And if light tech can go fast, establish quick drains, and then try to run around in space, it can be in a pretty good spot. Barrier makes a big difference, right? And in fact, we saw that yesterday that Jeff did have a very timely barrier to save him one time against Batmouse, and that's really all you need. We see Hayes download Moss Eisley. I think there is certainly no doubt that there'll be some Cantina shuffling going on. Sort of just a question.
Yep.
The big question is whether or not he's going to try to do the system with Celebration. He's peeking with the Communing, and a card on the bottom. Unless he has Ray, signifies it's not a card that he wants. 3PO. Three POs weigh something. Fairly always nice to see that opening hand 3PO. It looks like he's counting out his force to play Yoda. Not quite sure I know what the Yoda accomplishes here. It is an extra icon, but Yoda's pretty strong going to Death Star in the late game. Like you can play him to the 1-1 and then move him over to the 2-0. I'm going to presume that Batmouse is going to play Battle Order. And so I'm not sure why the Yoda, if Hayes' hand is kind of weak. So the Cantina shuffling strategy, so Mos Eisley says that during your control phase, you can move between Mos Eisley or the Cantina for free, and vice versa. So characters in Cantina can go to Mos Eisley, characters in Mos Eisley can go to Cantina. So basically, it lets you really fortify one site while effectively having two. So like if you have Luke with Lightsaber inside of Cantina, suddenly Luke can be at Mos Eisley too, in your control phase. So it makes it really, basically, makes it really hard for Darkseid to go for either of those sites. It's also particularly important with Tatooine Celebration. So Tatooine Celebration lets you retrieve a force for every light site that you occupy in your control phase. So you can swap your guys in the control phase. If they're all in the Cantina, you can move one out to Mos Eisley and retreat. It's very, very strong.
Yeah, you could also do stuff like if they deploy to either the Cantina or Mos Eisley, you can drain and then move your guys and then battle with them.
It just gives you so much versatility. It's been a cornerstone of another popular deck called Diplo. Diplo, I mentioned Alderaan for a decade now, basically, and it's kind of built into here. And so we see Batman's got another system. He's got basically all the systems. Did we freeze? We back? Jeremy, can you hear me?
What's that? I'm sorry.
Oh, did I freeze? I think I froze. Sorry.
Sorry, I'm
okay,
multitasking here.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you. Can you hear me?
Okay. Yeah, I can hear you.
Okay.
Sorry about that. Okay, so I think I might have a little internet lag. Okay. So we see that as a setup with a pretty standard couple of systems for SYCFA. What did he just grab there? Can you tell, Jeremy?
He's still looking. He got Tyrant.
Oh.
So I think he's missing one system.
No, don't they just play Nalfada in the thing that has the super leader draw?
They don't play
I
a
don't think
third
they have
system.
another one. I don't. Well, no, because the Death Star becomes. I think with the Death Star becoming a third battle card, they don't play
Yeah,
four
you
battle
don't need
cards
that third one, yeah.
normally.
It's kind of what you'd like to see this as SYCFA. No pressure. You can kind of
Yeah, no,
build up your hands.
No turn one Luke to a Cantina is definitely a strong thing for him.
Yeah. You just free roll this shot on Alderaan.
Yeah.
That's Jeddah, right? It has to be Jeddah, right?
It's Jeddah. It's Jeddah Nalfada. Those are the two you play in the deck. Two drain -1 systems that are next to each other, basically. I believe I see a home one as Hayes is looking through his cards, but I might be wrong.
Oh, what?
Sorry, my stream. I might be wrong, but my stream keeps getting blurry on me. So
I think that was a Tantive.
is it a Tanta? Okay.
Yeah.
Sorry, guys. I don't know why my stream's getting a little blurry.
I didn't see like a system or a celebration or anything when he panned through his deck. Yeah, this is just like Obi beginning with splashing Tantive as space. Ooh, it's going to be a tough matchup against SYCFA.
Yeah, for sure.
Okay, so we see, I'm guessing, Luke.
Jeremy, I'm gonna hop off and
Anakin.
then get back on. My internet's really slow, so let me see if I can fix it real quick.
Okay. All right, so there's Anakin going to the Cantina with the saber. Five force for Anakin. This Case has a ton of cards in hand. Probably gonna move like Yoda over and just draw. Like I said, Bad Mouse, you're like, this is whatever, because you could just retrieve this by deploying another Star Destroyer. Nullify this force drain, basically. Alright, so he finds the Boss Nos Chambers. And I believe this is his draw step. Yeah, because he's already moved, so yeah. So it looks like Hayes had some really struggling to find his activation.
Yeah. Can you hear me okay?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Okay. Yeah. Yep. So it took him a couple of turns to find the Wisas. Interesting that they are playing Wisas. Does Wurher do anything against permanent weapons? No, because they're not weapon cards. He does do things against the lightsaber, though. So he has to live through a turn.
Okay, so here's CPI.
Obviously, he's going to try to blow up Alderaan. He needs to not draw one, basically.
Right, yeah, it's +5. And then +2 from each Death Star site.
Yeah,
So he's +7. So yeah, it needs
yeah.
anything but a
Draw.
1. There
Yeah.
it is.
Yep. Blows it away. That makes Hayes lose 3 force. He loses the or the boss ass chamber from hand because he's going to be activating more than enough force for this game. He's already activating 6,
Yep.
7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14 force. It's a flip.
Well, he did just lose Alderaan, so now he doesn't activate there.
Yeah, but it gains an icon at the Death Star.
Oh, that's right. Yeah. Little interesting little thing with SYCFA here is if you successfully blow up Alderaan with CPI, you can also take CPI into hand from Lost Pile.
Yeah, so you effectively nut one force.
Yeah. So you can just pitch that to another drain.
He's still debating what to lose next. He loses Padme off the top.
So I imagine Bad Mouse is just going to play a Star Destroyer to the Death Star and pass. He doesn't
Yeah.
need to go fast because
He doesn't even need to play the Death Star, the Star Destroyer to the Death Star. I mean, I guess it's good because it's just drain, protect that drain, basically.
Yeah.
He doesn't need to retrieve.
Right. He can just do this, draw some more cards.
Yeah.
Do the CPI trick, and then play a Star Destroyer next turn, retrieve, and then just get the ball rolling. This is really what SYCFA does well.
Yeah. No, the ball's in Hayes' court to create some pressure somewhere, basically.
Yeah.
Which is going to have Krennic. So he's going to be able to start peeking through his cards.
Yep. And a Tractor Beam.
I think that's probably going to be enough to dissuade Hayes from coming there.
Yep. Also, Tyrant adds 1.
Yeah. I don't think it's where Hayes is going to want to go anyways, but I think that's definitely keep him off going there.
So Batman's looking really good. Really, he's getting.
Yeah, I mean, Hayes does have a drain of 4 next turn, right? You can
4?
You just shuffle Yoda. You can shuffle Anakin out and pay 6 if he wants to drain for 4.
Yeah, if he shuffles.
He obviously has to pay to do it. So
yep.
Looks like Hayes wants to look something up on Scump Link.
Also, Bad Mouse playing Abyss.
Yeah, we talked about that already. It seemed less than ideal.
Yeah.
Doesn't really do too much, but it is a card that he does like to play.
I'm sure he has a lot of great stories about Abyss blowouts.
Wall here real quick. Just want to check out the other stream with Yoshi. Yoshi's camera.
Is this one of the matchups, Brad? Doesn't seem great in this matchup. I mean, yeah, they play Busted Master Luke's, but he's only Destiny 1.
Yeah, they also.
Because there's Sand, which has Kylo and Thrawn.
Character is loaded up there. Anyone, just a reminder of the multi-twitch on the other channel too. Looks like 0 hours doing 0 hour things versus Thrawn, kind of exploding across the board.
2 tough matchups in a row for Connor with Thrawn.
Yeah, but he does get to face basically the same ROPs or similar ROPs deck again. So see if he can pull it out like he did last time.
Okay. Interesting. So he moves. So he moves the Death Star to Nalhada and then moves to Nalhada.
Yeah, I mean it's just cheaper, right? To deploy the Star Destroyer there. He basically netted himself a force.
Well, I don't know why you would move though, because Death Star is still a battleground.
Right. Yeah, there's no real advantage there. Unless you're trying to basically.
And you have the super laser there, so you really.
He might just be trying to bait Hayes to come to the Death Star. I'm not really sure.
Does there need to be a Star Destroyer at? I thought the Death Star just has to be piloting or as orbiting to use Krennic. Let me read Krennic.
Satisfying Coward is not relevant. The Death Star satisfies Coward as a battleground.
Yeah, Death Star's a battleground.
Krennic. Yeah, check Krennic's specs.
Yeah, you can use Krennic. I think you just wasted a force moving, in my opinion. I agree with him orbiting now Huda with Death Star. I don't agree with him using a force to move Tyrant.
Is it a force? Is it not free? Isn't mobile system to system movement free within like without using hyperspeed?
That I do not know. I should probably know that.
You see him grab Enter the Bureaucrat, which really doesn't do anything here because, well, what it does is it forces Hayes to pay 3 extra to drain.
Yep.
So Hayes can't, if Hayes is going to shuffle outside and now pay 6 to drain for 4.
So Batman should really be taking this CPI into hand and losing that.
He can do it whenever he wants. There'll be some other force range this game, I'm sure.
Yeah, but you don't want to retrieve it into your deck.
Well, it's pretty buried now. It's 4 cards down.
Yeah, but then when are you going to lose it again?
That's true.
That's what I'm saying. You want it on the
Yeah,
bottom.
yeah. Pick it up,
Lost
bottom. Yeah. Basically, it's just a net -1 to a drain once per game, basically.
The Hayes does get down the can't believe he's gone V.
Mm-hmm.
Then he just moves Yoda there.
I think he was signaling that he wanted to do that in the control phase, but I might be wrong. Yeah, that was a control
Okay.
phase. So now
So
it's Leia. Search through
it's a
large
card
heat
I'd
pile.
used.
Again, as we know, what Hayes is basically trying to do here is sculpt his hand so that he can survive in space for as long as possible. Right?
Yep.
That's sort of the name of the game for Hayes here.
The assumption here is that he just has Tantive and Honshu Falcon.
Yeah, not the home one I thought I saw. Which home one is actually, oh, you can't target home one with the tractor beam. Oh, that'd be really good. Right? You can't because it's non-star cruisers because they're too big to fit inside of your ship.
Yeah.
I did not see what Hayes got. Did you?
Did not.
Yeah, Hayes' hand is a little past the camera line. So.
Okay. It's just we're going to see a drain of 3 and then another Star Destroyer.
Yeah, I
Drain of
mean,
3.
basically the only thing Batmouse isn't under any real pressure. The only thing he really needs to do is just make sure he has enough backed up so that when he does go to space, he has something to battle him with, right? You don't want to kind of just throw everything out there and then have to figure it out after that. He's just playing a perimeter scan. Covered up on the stream, but I do see his aim high out there. Presumably. That mouse training for 3.
Yep.
Losing that perimeter scan. Classic, solid, correct play. If you're gonna lose a P scan, grab a shield first. Leadership. Reset. What do you think of a Wisa package in this deck?
It's a good question. I mean, it ups your overall Battle Destiny average, which is the only thing that the only advantage I can see over the Yoda hut start.
We see Image coming out. Again, Cantina shuffling pretty good at stopping the strength of an Image and an into the bureaucrat. It still reduces the drain basically from 4 to 3. It will
Yep.
pay 6 to drain for 3 continuously. And there's the double Star Destroyer, which gets the deploy reduction and retrieves 3, but not 6. Is that correct? Does anyone know?
Correct.
Okay.
It's 2 Star Destroyers at 1 starship.
So it would retrieve 6.
No. It's so weird. It's just 3.
I'll just believe you. Still haven't seen him pick up that CPI again yet. And obviously, Star Destroyer is immune to attrition less than 4 and draws on its own thanks to Quat drive yards. So that definitely lets him.
Yeah, the rule is because you retrieve 3 force whenever you deploy a unique Star Destroyer, not for each.
Oh, and it's not 2 unique Star Destroyers.
Right.
I'll believe it. So again, sitting pretty nice for Batmouse. He's basically telling Hayes, show me a 3rd battleground, which he should have with the farm, obviously. I thought we saw the farm in his opening hand, but it might have been Moss Eisley.
Right, he's reading Super Laser.
It's probably a sign that you want to deploy to a different system. 2 neighborings for Hayes. I don't know. They didn't play any neighborings yesterday. So I'm unsure how much neighboring. Casey, I think the rule is saying that it is only 1 unique Star Destroyer. It doesn't have multiple uniqueness or something. Oh, they do. Okay, yeah, I don't get it.
Talk to Gurgle.
Listen, man.
He made this ruling.
We're all playing Gurgle's game, We're all just active participants in whatever game Gurgle wants to play.
The real issue here is that design made a card that has 2 Star Destroyers on it. What were they thinking?
Awesome. It's a great card. Okay, Leia shuffle inside. Hayes is gonna pay to drain for 2. Hayes decides he's gonna shuffle Yoda inside instead. See, I believe that was Tarkin Doctrine and Tractor Beam.
I still don't think he's picked up CPI out of his last file. Maybe
I
he
do
just
not
doesn't
believe
know
he
you
has
could
it.
do that.
I'm going to assume Batmouse knows how the SYCFA cards work. He has played it quite a bit.
It's a pretty niche interaction.
You can't blow up Tatooine, right?
No. You can't target anything other than
Yeah.
Alderaan and subjugated planets.
Well, maybe they'll subjugate Tatooine and then blow it up.
Rebel bases, right? I think you could target rebel bases. But yeah.
All right. Hayes is putting Master Luke to the Death Star docking bay with a lightsaber. So just trying to get some more damage going, basically. Yeah, but it's not just the 1 starship rule because it does deploy -4 as 2 starships. So
Let's do Star Destroyers.
oh my God.
I know, it's weird.
But the point is that what Casey said is that the effective says unique Star Destroyers. Or
I
whatever.
agree. I agree with Casey, but that's not the rule.
I mean, rules are rules. All right.
So if you have umbrage with it, you got to take it up with Gurgle.
Yeah.
Okay, so we see Hayes going to the Death Star docking bay with Ray plus
Ray
Saber.
and Luke. Well, and I'm going to assume Ray might move over to the Depot. And Hayes is basically like, look, I'm going to drain you for 6. You're going to try to drain me for 4 because he has ultimatum out. And I'm going to win this race until you engage with me on the ground, basically. Luke is obviously pretty strong because Luke gets around General Veers. But importantly, he does not get to revive Luke here, with I can't believe he's gone. So
True. Bat Mouse does have some ground. He has Veers and Walker. So he could pick a fight at one of these sites.
I think Chris's point is a good one, which is basically we don't, everything is implied put on the stack once. So that's why you only get the harvesters once. Oh, but Casey's right. Squadrons do retreat through. Hmm. Yes, super laser. Yeah, I was being a little tongue. Yes, I know we can't pull up anything besides Alderaan. Yeah, he's basically just trying to threaten more damage. He's shutting Batmouse down to 4. So now Batmouse needs to get to a battleground to not be paying for drains. Hayes is not moving Ray over to the 2-0. So he wants to kind of hold on to this conversation. And we see Batmouse play Imperial Command. Let's see if that baits out a grab. No. Grabs General Veers. As mentioned also, we know that, well, we don't know, but it's interesting that Hayes has not played the farm. And at this point, I'm going to assume it's intentional because he does not want to give Batmouse an easier battleground to satisfy with.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Chris pointing out that, in fact, it works with short range with senior fleet systems specifically because it was rotted.
Chris dropping some truth
dropping
bombs
some
in
knowledge.
chat.
Yeah, listen, if you run a tournament, you got to know where we've rotted senior fleet systems to allow for retrieval. It's like just essential. So. Love you, Chris. So interesting turn here for Batmouse. You could try to go after Anakin and Leia, but that's pretty sketchy because basically Hayes gets +2 on the draw from Anakin, and I can't believe he's gone. He's pretty likely to clear there.
Also got to be careful of leadership.
And the leadership, yeah, adds a destiny. It's sort of just a question of, for Batmouse, does he have enough? More likely, so the other important thing here is that basically Hayes's best characters are all committed, right? You know, due to the limited character base of the deck. Luke, Rey, Anakin, Leia, Yoda, they're all out.
All right, well,
so we do see Blizzard
no
6.
drain.
No drain.
Blizzard 8.
6. Blizzard 8. Okay. I would think you put Veers on there. You put another thing of 4-foot fodder there, and you pass.
Just pass.
Yeah, I think you can't battle.
But then you run into Leia's gun.
Do you run into Leia's gun? It's only armor 7, right? So with a +1 on it, you still need to draw 6 to kill it.
Well, you can add one with the effect.
Yeah, I'm saying +2, basically. +1 from the gun, +1 from the effect. You still need 6 to kill it. Yeah, I don't know. Veers just alone, I don't love for sure. Yeah, sorry about the mess, which we do know. Team 5 loves are sorry about the messes.
Actually, that walker is only 6.
Oh, it's only 6? Yikes.
Yeah.
So now just a 5 will hit it.
Yep.
If Leia's gun is there. So we're seeing some cards, something special.
A lot of red.
A lot of red. So high destinies. Again. I mean, he might think, let me just battle here, maybe try to clear this off, but then drains a 4. I don't know. This is tough. I don't know if I love going there. Yes, Luke's saber is on Luke. Anakin's saber is on Anakin. So if he killed him there, he could recur the Anakin saber onto Luke. So I don't know if he really would care to do that. Or onto Rey, actually.
There's really nowhere else to go for Batmouse, though. If he feels like he needs to go to ground.
Well, I just wonder if he needed to go to ground right now. He could maybe just put another Star Destroyer out, try to match, and he's going to initiate battle.
Wow. Okay.
So,
I mean, I think yeah, I don't think he can just pass because, like I
well, he
said,
can't pass once he's made this play, but I do
yeah,
wonder. Well, another thing is that he does have two pretty good cards up there on his sand, or whatever we call it for dark side, rough, coarse,
yeah,
and irritating, coarse, rough, and irritating. So he could take, like, maybe he really wants to grab that Kylo.
yeah. Kylo's looking pretty good. Yep, that's what he does.
Does it, before leadership has been played, but he obviously maybe
Stops
was
Anakin. It does stop Anakin though.
does stop Anakin and does stop the effect.
Yep. So he
He
draws a
draws a
4 and a
4
4.
and a 4. So he's
Yep.
clearing
Hayes is
Anakin or
happy
Leia.
because this
Hayes,
just means Anakin
or maybe
or Leia.
Leia.
Yeah, or Leia.
And Hayes draws. Hayes draws. Hayes
Draws a
should have. He
gun.
draws Leia's gun, but
Yeah.
that's obviously adding won't do anything. Yeah, and
Right.
Hayes should have activated one because after he pulled one off a sand, he's not going to draw. So
Interesting. He's losing Leia even though he knows Leia's gun is coming.
he might just have it.
Come back. Yeah, I
I
guess
think
he could
it's
just have another one. All right, just pass from Batmouse.
I'm not sure what else he can really do right now. Yeah, Unita, right? Another Leia, Unita. I promise you that Leia's not just gonna die for without the ability to shoot back up here.
And we'll see if Hayes has a 5 tracked to blow up this Blizzard 8. It's
That
true.
must could barrier her. That would be strong for
That would be
sure.
very good.
Yeah, and then ideally after that, he can if he had a barrier, then he could play Kylo and a couple guys, pass. Yeah, pulling the rifle would mess up tracking, and I don't think Hayes would be tracked at this point anyways. But again, he only needs to draw a 5, which and I think he would definitely take that shot. Loses a Gick off the top and loses Death Squadron assignments off the top. Yoda joins.
Just one drain from Hayes or 2? I think it was just one drain, right?
Just one.
So there's Unita.
Unita for Leia. Batmouse losing Gick is also something he's got to be careful for. There's Leia. Obviously, he's going to go
So
grab
his
her
Destiny
gun.
Mirror when we look for his gun.
We will not because he's holding it. Oh no, he's counting his force.
Lando. Use
Mm-hmm.
Pal Search.
Yep, Lando for use pulse search. So certainly, if he has sorry about the mess, he's going to grab it here. Yeah, sorry about the mess. Lando won't. Presumably, if Beers survives the weapon phase of the battle, won't be adding because he can pick up ROM, but pretty strong power now. We're looking at 8, 12, 18 power, right? Beers is 9.
Yeah. Oh,
Yes, there
hey.
is a stream for the other link. Well, it's uh, right here. Briefly looking at that other game. Looks like it's gonna be not being able to see Charlie's life force total. Looks to be a pretty strong position for 0 hour right now.
Yeah, I didn't love this play last turn from Batmouse. Like, you just gave up so much tempo. Like, it was very unlikely that you were going to keep.
Well, I think the bigger thing is I think you have to go to the docking bay. I think you have to stay away from Leia.
Yeah, but
Right.
Luke's at the docking bay. You don't draw anything there.
That's a good point. So he needs to get another. Yeah, I think maybe you just have to drain and draw into an ability for character. Right.
Yeah. I mean, you're still winning the race, right? Because you you're going to retrieve a bunch with your Star Destroyers. You drain 4, retrieve 3.
Yeah. I mean, it is,
Versus,
yeah, it's interesting. I mean, it is committing some cards to the board for Hayes. He also did see his destinies, though he saw his destinies after he played stuff. But I mean, he's maybe thinking, look, if I draw a 9 here, I'm gonna have a big spot. Um, so maybe he has the imbalance hand to stop us. Sorry about the must shooting, but again, he's gonna have to peel some cards. Then he's just gonna be outpowered, potentially outpowered. Also, you'll have to pick up the last card off of sand.
playing Yoda Muning, get well. With
Yeah,
like with Luke in space.
if it's the same deck he played yesterday,
If it's the same deck, yeah.
and we don't know what Hayes is playing.
Could be Kessel runs. You never know.
We don't know what Hayes is playing because he opted not to play. And probably, I mean, Jeff is on his team and Jeff played AOBs, but probably playing something else besides AOBs. Team 5 played different dark yesterday, and AOBs is Jeff's old standby, so it's very possible that he's opted for something else. Hayes played Bring Him Before Me yesterday. Be a little surprised if he Bring Him Before Me again. It's been a little. So.
It depends on how much they expected of Communing today. Right. Maybe they're playing Invasion.
They could be playing Invasion. It'll be exciting to see. We'll have it on stream after this game.
If Hayes is playing Invasion, it's a terrible matchup for Bat Mouse.
Yeah, it's a tough one.
I'm not convinced on Abyss. We'll see. To me, it's just looking like a wasted
Looks
force.
like a lost force, right? I mean,
Yeah.
even if Hayes draws a character, he's shuffling Batmouse's deck. I think he knew that Batmouse had a bunch of kind of high destinies in there. Again, I think that might have been part of the motivation Batmouse had for initiating the battle that he did last term. He thought he had a decent chance of drawing 5s and 4s. So he also had the kick in there. Hayes seems to be concerned about some sleeves or something. Anyone briefly looking over at the other stream, it looks like 0 hours is going to drain for quite a bit. And like we said, it's more of a question of what the differential in that game's going to
be. Yeah. Connor picked a tough day to play Thrawn.
Well, you might have picked the right day to play Rescue the Princess.
That is true.
Hayes is taking his time here.
Because Charlie's playing ROPsV too, right?
Hayes pays 1 to initiate a battle, which would be free with. Oh no. Just moving.
Okay, so here are the Destinies. 5 and a 1 for Anthony. CPS hit Fury. Nope.
6. The 6 is going to clear.
Yeah. More importantly, Fears is going to die.
Well, the Walker's going to die.
He did pull off sand, right? So this is only a 6.
It is, but isn't Fears 4/5?
Oh yeah, Fears is 4/5.
And he's losing both. He did pull off sand. He pulled off sand, so now he has a Thrawn and a Kylo, but I'm not sure where they're going to go. He just loses Lando.
Yeah, I think you just lost so much tempo as Batmouse by doing this.
9 to just throw those things out there and have him be killed is tough.
Yeah, you gave up draining, you gave up retrieving.
I'm sure why Hayes is moving now. He could do it for free in the control turns. Also, Hayes unnecessarily paid 1 to battle with Anakin.
Well, it's May.
I know it's May. I'm
Maybe he wanted to
assuming
use
he
one.
would prefer free, but perhaps he has some deep tracking that we missed. Yes, resistance.
Resistance.
Thank you. Of course. Of course. Thank you, James. Yeah, of course. Of course. Offer what forces? Yeah, I mean, so now Bat Mouse, I guess, can revert back to what he was going to do before, which is drain for 4 and retrieve some, right?
Yeah, but now you're not gonna.
Have Veers as an option, right? The point is that you could have had Veers later in the game, potentially.
Yeah, you have
You're
less
basically
force
signaling you're
now.
not going to do anything on the ground.
Yeah. Yeah, like this turn, if he had saved viewers and just like played a Star Destroyer, he would have been up 3 force and have another a system to drain at.
Yeah, I mean, he did make Hayes play Lando, play Unita, block the drain. I mean, the net's about the same. It's not worth 9 force, basically.
Yeah, you paid 9 force just to make him lose the cards that he was already going to lose to your drains
Yeah.
anyways.
And Ketwell, you're right. Regardless of what happens, this is going to be close, right? Hayes doesn't have like a retrieval engine going here. It's not even clear if he has the Tatooine system.
Yeah, I think
I
that's
think
what
they're
we're
just
saying,
playing
Catwall, is
Wistas
that
for Boss Nass.
in match play like this, like just try to do as much damage and retrieve as much as possible with SYCFA.
Yeah,
And
I think that
I don't
that's
even know if you
now
ever,
and
I don't know if you ever
yeah, I think
deploy
that's
Blizzard 8 ever.
yeah, I think that's what Batmass is doing now. Is we have to shift to that as his option.
All right, well here's Sidious fighting Ant again.
Interesting.
I don't know what this accomplishes because he's probably gonna die unless he has
So
force
I
field.
would see now I would put Sidious. Sidious is very strong with the Death Star Docking Bay. He'd be much stronger with the Death Star Docking Bay,
Why
right?
is that?
Because you can just plop him down there to satisfy battle plan and exclude Luke. So like Ray battles into him alone, right? It's not going to do anything.
It's true. I mean, he could do the
Whereas
same thing with Anakin, right?
he just dodged away Anakin. But again, now he's going to shuffle everyone in front. I mean, like a Leia Yoda battle into Sidious is terrible for for Hayes. Like I just wouldn't put him where he's got 3 different characters. Like the
Another brutal thing
battle,
here too for Anthony is he doesn't have Tarkin Doctrine.
right? He lost Tarkin Doctrine, so he
Yeah,
lost some damage output basically.
a lot of damage output. Now, if Anthony has Force Push here, that's really good.
Yeah, force push should be strong, right? Exclude Anakin, force push out. You have to exclude Anakin because of the laser.
Yep. But like you said, like he still has to face whatever Hayes puts at Tatooine, right? Because of the shuffle. So you're never
Yeah,
ever free from these guys.
right. Whereas the Death Star docking bay, I think, would be a stronger play for him.
Yeah.
And definitely a strong play by Hayes to just lose his farm to a force drain.
Sorry about the mess. Here we go. Cantina Shuffle shenanigans.
Yeah.
Yep. So no protection from
I'm sure he's
Anthony.
dead. Yeah, 6. Yeah, which I guess that would have happened to Sidious in front of Fluke anyways. Yeah, it does feel like that basically Anthony just should have just set up with that third system, right?
Yep.
Just pay 9, drain for 6, retrieve 3 while he's being drained for 6. He should be ahead.
Yeah, I mean, he wins that race. This is match play. It's got to be thinking about that.
Right. He's kind of running short on guys here. The game is still going on. Only briefly checking in since they're hard to see their life totals because they're sort of off screen. Hayes has a pretty healthy life total too. He's pretty clearly secured all the locations in play. Yeah, I agree, Cutwell. Connor's definitely low in the game. I don't know if Charlie's winning by 10 or 20. I guess it's probably closer to 10. 0 hour. 0 hour puts a lot of cards in play as basically modern decks do. Old decks are just putting a lot of cards in
Okay, so I didn't see what he just popped Walkling to retrieve something, but I didn't see what it was.
play. Was it sorry about the mess? I assume it's sorry about the mess. And there's Hanshu and the Falcon with, is that an intruder missile? Yeah, a classic intruder
Probably.
missile. Huh? Yeah.
Yeah, so that retrieving that sorry about the mess makes sense now.
Yeah.
Because
Okay.
as we found out yesterday, you can
Oh
sorry
yeah.
about the mess from Hanshui Falcon intruder missiles,
Yeah. Adds
and you
1.
get the +1.
You get the +1, and I'm sure he can track up a 6 and blow something up. Obviously, he's got the 3PO there. I think counting his life force looks to be maybe about 15 or so. And again, this is where if you just had another Star Destroyer kind of lined up and ready,
It's an intruder missile,
it's an
Ketwell.
intruder missile. Yeah, they were playing them yesterday.
Pretty innovative, I gotta say. I mean, when's the last
Definitely,
time we saw intruder missiles?
definitely get some high destinies in your deck. Charlie won by 17 in game 1.
Wow.
So that gives him a little bit more breathing room than Greg had going into a rematch of ROPs versus Rescue the Princess. All right, so Batmass skipped draining and goes straight to Vengeance with Thrawn. Obviously, hoping to kick Hayes out of space here. Though, of course, there's some concern. It's going to be just the fact that he has a lot more drains going, right? Still has a pretty solid drain of 5. Batmass is going to have to start paying to drain. The differential is going to be pretty unfavorable. If anything, the Hanshu Falcon's almost like good bait for Hayes, right? It's like, yeah, sure, whatever, kill this, I don't care. Play
Yep.
2 more cards, skip a turn draining and play 2 more cards.
And I don't think Batmouse was able to retrieve either, right? Because he played Thrawn.
Yes, OB can also add 1 to the missile draw. He's not paying to retrieve.
Yep. Opting for
Not,
Thrawn over retrieving.
not paying to retrieve, not paying to drain, just going straight to try to remove Hanshu and Falcon.
Yeah. I didn't like this game plan, this game from Batmouse. I mean, I know you feel the pressure of wanting to pay for a battle plan, but I think you just have to accept that you're going to pay for it
Yeah, I
all
agree.
game.
Waiting to see a battle, perhaps?
Yeah, this has been pretty fun actually.
Yeah, this is a good match because, well, in particular, we know it's a good match because ideally, even if Batmouse loses, it should be a close enough differential that the next game is
It's
relevant.
the Vigilance spread.
Yeah. He's taking some time to read some cards. What am I looking for here?
So you hit with the intruder missile. And Anthony draws Sith Fury and Lord Maul, right?
Mm-hmm.
And Hayes draws a 7.
Yeah, so it looks like we're just
So
trading off.
everybody dies.
Everyone clears. Hayes gets to put another life force back.
Looks like Hayes may have been down some power.
I don't imagine the Hunter fucking covers. He drew, what was
He
that?
was okay there. Looks like
19 total? Yeah.
they were just calculating there.
Yeah.
Oh, he did peel too. Oh no. Okay. I don't know what's going on here.
I
I
think we'll
think they're
get a
just
clear. I think they're
verifying.
just double checking something.
Yeah.
Yeah. And in fact, that puts another life total in for Hayes. Looks like Batmouse has slipped away for a second. This is basically the same OB meaning deck that they played yesterday,
Yeah,
right?
it does look like it, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, they basically shifted to just starting the site, not even the Yoda site. I guess maybe they realized they were activating enough force in every matchup anyways. Um, doing the Hanshui Falcon Intruder Missile package. I think they're still kind of gunning for Thrawn, more or less, right?
Seems that way.
Yeah. Um, he's just pointing some things out. Garrett looks like he's checking something here, maybe. Counting life force. Yeah, Garrett, a life force count would be fantastic. A good thing for us to check here on stream. Quick bathroom break. Sorry, I forget that Garrett's
You know what? I'm gonna take a quick bathroom break too.
Oh, I was gonna do that. All right, you first.
All right.
Those following, we do have Hayes has 22 cards in Life Force, and Batmass has 15 cards in Life Force. So it's actually, things kind of shape up with the way that they're continuing to do now. Going to be a pretty big win for Hayes. Hayes is, let me just get that count correct again. That's 22 in Life Force with 4 in hand for Hayes, 15 in Life Force, 7 in hand for Batmouse. So Batmouse can drain for 4, maybe 4 more times, get this down to maybe about 10 or so. We're definitely going to see some differential counting basically here for Batmouse. Unlikely that with 15 force left he can really do much. I think what he needs to do is really focus on that. I think trying to throw out like Kylo and Thrawn in some sort of last ditch effort to try to clear some damage is not going to really work well for him. And so I think you just let Hayes drain you for 5, and you drain for 4. Maybe play a Star Destroyer, get some retrieval going. Like he did get rid of the Haunter and Falcon.
All right, I'm back.
Yeah, I don't know if he's. I was just saying, Jeremy, that the Life Force totals are 15 in Life Force for Batmouse with 7 in hand. Hayes has 22 in Life Force with 4 in hand.
Yeah, it's still a lot of game to go then.
Still a lot of game to go. And so Hayes can go to the War Room to up the damage a little bit. We're basically saying that, Batmouse needs to get some Star Destroyers, get some retrieval going. If I am Batmouse, I think you really got to start thinking about differential and getting this to like 10 going to the next game.
Yeah.
I think like trying to play like, he has Kylo in hand. He probably maybe has found a DVD lots. I think he has to kind of accept that like trying to contest these sites is not going to work well, and he should just like really focus on trying to clear them out.
Yeah, put as much damage on the board as possible.
Exactly. Yeah, and we see him lose that Kylo from hand. I guess that Batmouse has kind of started to do the math a little bit in his head and realize, okay, I need to just, it's not a loss if you, I mean, it is a loss, but it's not that bad if you can make this like a.
Yep.
He's showing us his reserve, I believe,
Yeah.
verifying pretty high destinies, intruder missile, double bionic hand, Luke, Hera under attack.
Yeah, just imagine if Batmouse had a Star Destroyer at this third system, and Hayes was forced to put Hanjui Falcon in front of one of Batmouse's Star Destroyers.
Yeah.
The game would be so much different because Batmouse would not have been forced to pay like 11 force for a Star Destroyer and
then Thrawn.
Thrawn,
Yeah.
and then give up the retrieval.
Yeah. No, I agree.
And there was going to reach a point where Hayes wasn't going to be able to pay for drains.
Yeah, but now that's pretty far past. I mean, Hayes is at
gone, yeah.
22 life force, so Hayes can eat these drains for quite some time. It's definitely a favorable math problem for Hayes. And Hayes has not popped his Walkling, right?
He did.
He did.
Okay. I think he got back sorry with it.
That's right. That's right. Yeah, James, the thing is that Sidious was going to get sorried. That was the problem. So while going to the Cantina was sketchier of the two options, putting him in front of Luke, he's still going to get killed. So where Hayes played this very well is basically forcing all the action on these sites. The fact that Hayes didn't play the farm really made a big, big difference.
Yeah, I wonder if that was like an insight from Jeff in his game. He was like, "Hey, I played the farm and lost because of it."
Yeah, I basically gave him a battleground site he could hang at. If instead, basically all you have to do is just reinforce the Death Star docking bay because the Cantina Shuffle takes care of the rest. That's a big differential. Hayes a moment ago had 22 life force and Batmouse had 15. Batmouse had like 7 cards in hand and Hayes had 4. Batmouse just ate a bunch of drains. And I think we're now in the let's do some math phase of things and see if Batmouse can get this to a reasonable differential. Yeah, that's a good point. Obviously, putting your sorry about the best in front of Anakin's a little awkward, or putting your guy to get sorry by Anakin's a little awkward. See, Hayes, shooter, but Hujix. Check the other stream real quick, see if they're getting ready to play. Looks like they are starting now. For those who are interested, the second stream, Charlie Arledson versus
What do you
Connor Burton.
It's 17. That's the diff.
17 was the death. Charlie by 17.
Also, you got to assume that Greg's going to tell Charlie about uncontrollable fury. So
Yeah, something tells me that information did not slip
yeah,
anywhere in conversations. And even then, 17 is high. Like in that game we were watching, Greg probably could have lost by 16 or whatever.
yeah.
13 was a bigger. All right, we see a stalker come out. He pays for the full retrieval. And again, this is kind of getting at what you think he should have done. And he did retrieve. He did not retrieve the Star Destroyer because it was buried. I don't know how many more Star Destroyers he's going to have. This is his 4th one, right? I believe it's his 4th Star Destroyer. Yep. And this is the play that Jeremy's saying he should have done a while ago. Do you play a number greater than 4, Brad? That's the question, though, because we know a Vengeance died. I'm not sure what else there would be here. The 3 Star Destroyers out. We're paying the drain for 6 if Hayes can't find another Hanche Falcon to block. Hayes is paying to drain for 5. At this point, Hayes has probably seen enough characters get lost, and he has a Hujix in hand. I'm sure he feels pretty comfortable to move right over the 2-0. You can do one more kind of big drain after that. Also, Ray's super safe. I mean, he's got 6s floating around, so he'll draw like an 8 for Battle Destiny with the effect. Oh, there's Leia's resistance transport, which basically blocks up a drain because he's going to have a Hujix. Effectively, and Hera. So that was just a good battle for Hayes. Just put a couple more cards in play, so kind of have a dozen 1/6 of there that will speed up the end of the game because if he satisfies battle order, that'll be game over very quickly. Hayes initiates battle. This time a factor here. I don't know how much time is left, so I don't know the factor. It's probably close to being over. If we can get a time check, that'd be cool. Let's see, so Hera lost. Again, Batmouse is still low on life force. So if he wants to attack that, he has to do it without Start of sure. There's also a
Yeah,
bathroom break in here, so I think let's see.
they might have some time extension. Yeah.
9 minutes left. This should take 9 minutes. Yep. And Hayes moves over. Probably I just move Ray. Doesn't matter too much. That mouse probably has about it's probably down to about 12 life force or so or less. Hayes 15-ish, I think. He's taking a look through that lost pile. Oh, because he's no wait. Why is he looking at a lost pile? Why is the lost pile being verified? Unitab.
Hmm. Okay.
Maybe Bat Mouse will grab that CPI now. Not that I think that one life force would have mattered. Well, looks like Bat Mouse is going for like a battle somewhere. I know he's drained. I'm sorry. He's just going to lose him off the top. So Bat Mouse's goal here is to try to minimize the differential. Looks like he paid for one drain, and then he is Vader into Ray. Vader into Ray initiates a battle. Clear Ray could be strong for him. Move Tyrant in front of resistance transport. Basically what he's looking to do. Still, though, having to eat a lot of drains next turn. Need a drain of 4 or 5 again. Looks like choke failed. So now Vader's probably going to get cleared by Ray because he only has to draw 3. Oh, he doesn't even clear the Ray.
Ish. Yikes.
Yeah, that's going to be the end of things for Batman's probably. Yeah, choke. Yeah, 1-1 there. Pretty tough stuff. I'm not sure what Hayes is thinking about here. Debating whether not to draw Battle Destiny. He knew Kylo was the bottom card, but he might not have known what the top card was, and obviously he's just going for it. If he just draws a 5, he could choke Ray. Hayes is going to just lose Ray, it looks like. Hayes is going to continue taking time to make a decision. I might, if I was Anthony, with less than 5 minutes left, maybe kind of gently suggest he needs to make a decision. He might not draw because he wants to like counter beat the Vader. Okay.
Maybe.
That would be the only reason not to draw, but then you're not paying to drain. Like the Ray lives, so I'm not really quite sure what that was. And Batmouse did not move in front of the transport. They're looking at drains of 1, 3, 4, 5, 7. Yeah.
Ouch.
Yeah, that was his one chance.
Yep.
We're just gonna have to get a differential count, and that'll be the game.
Tough game for Bad Mouse. Just I felt like he lost a lot of momentum trying to stay on the ground.
Yeah, I think it definitely. Yeah, his was the higher seed, I believe.
Yeah.
So he picked the sides.
Yep.
Which is reasonable because SYCFA is this deck that you don't want them to basically know what number they need to count to, right?
Exactly. Yeah. What do you think Hayes playing for Dark?
I think I saw he was playing ROPs, as in like I think I literally saw the objective when he sat down for a split second.
Okay.
My guess is if he's playing ROPs, he's playing ROPs nines. But we shall see. Like that mouse might be just activating and conceding, perhaps, depending on Hayes' hand size. Only a couple cards in hand now for Batmouse. Batmouse will drain for two. Just get a couple cards out of Hayes' hand, and then drains next turn will end up. I think this is probably about, can't quite tell, 15 maybe? Final drains here. He puts a card back with 3PO. He's spending 3 force to sense recoil and fear.
Interesting.
Not sure what the point of that is. Hoping to draw something like a used interrupt he could put back. That is a very popular card that Team 5 likes to play, since recoil and fear. And they love to try to grab you without your gick.
Oh, it's able to cycle into a cycler.
There you go.
The dream. All right, so Hayes takes his first game probably by what, like 15?
Yeah, let's see.
Okay.
We can count it out real quick.
3,
Like
6, 9,
9,
10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16. Looks like.
16. There's 16. That's a pretty large differential.
Yeah.
But if there's a deck that can maybe try to get that, OB Communing is a decent one for it. Or not OB, sorry, a Yoda Communing, right? Minimal amount of cards in play, set up the sites, try to drain. Let's see how it goes in the next game.
You said you think that Hayes is on ROPs nines?
I very briefly thought I saw ROPs in like when he sat down as his effective for Dark
Definitely in
Side.
his wheelhouse for sure.
And I'm just presuming nines because I believe that they played a lot of um,
All right, let's
what
give away Din Djarin and Slip. It's been a minute.
I'll put you on that trivia question. I'm gonna run to the bathroom quick before the second game starts.
All right. There are 4 cards in the Tatooine expansion that start with a Jedi's blank. Can you name all 4 of those cards? First one to get it gets a full art Din Djarin foil slip. Concentration, resilience, fury, patience. I think you're correct, Tom. Let me double check you. Jedi's concentration. Jedi's. Oh, nope. That is not right. Sean got it. Yep. Focus, not fury. Focus, resilience, patience, concentration. Sean gets a Din slip. Racking up the prizes today, Sean. All right, let me read some PSAs here. So we do have an Instagram account. If you want to follow that, just follow at Star Wars CCG. You can see content and photos. Also, if you want to register for any upcoming online or in-person events, you can always check out our Twitter account, also at StarWarsCCG.com, or just start at Star Wars CCG at SWCCG. Sorry. And a reminder, we got some upcoming events. We have the next OCS starts in May, so next month. We have Worlds in Morristown, New Jersey. That's August 10th to the 12th. There's also the European Championship in Germany. That's September 8th to the 10th. And then there's an online retro event, Premiere to Special Edition. It's April 23rd through May 27th. So for all you old school guys out there, if you want to play that, it's available. We still have the B21 preview set release party going on that ends on April 10th. Eric looking for some tax advice. Oh yeah, don't forget to tune in for the Gym PC top 4. Which contains one Anthony Howard Bat Mouse you see on screen, as well as Tom Strother and Mike Kessling and Karen. That should be fun to watch. Let's see what else we got going on. Also, if you like some of these decks that you see played this weekend, don't forget to check out the deck lists on at StarWarsCCG.org under tournament deck lists. Yeah, Bat Mouse on fire. Top 4 of the Gym PC. Top 4 this event, Nationals. He's got a hill to climb, though, this next match. Down by 16 against somebody like Hayes. And just a quick reminder about the other match. Uh, Charlie Arlinson is up by 17 over Connor Britt. They're currently playing their second game. And, that matchup is Charlie on ROPsV versus Connor on RTPV. Let's do another trivia question for a GIP AI pack. So I just asked you about all the a Jedi cards from Tatooine. Can you name all of the dark side equivalents? I'm realizing now that's not a good trivia question because I don't think they line up 1-to-1 like I thought they did. All right, Dan, you get credit. Dan wins a foil AI pack. All right, we're just waiting on second game between Bat Mouse and Hayes. Do we know, is there a 5-minute break or what? So I don't know if Garrett's aware, but we don't see the table anymore on stream. Oh, oh, there was, and there it went. There we go. Okay.
Can you hear me? Jeremy, can you hear me? Yeah. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I guess.
Cool. Connor.
All right, and looks like we're about to start here. So we got Yoda muting versus
Here we go.
ROPsV.
Rops does not appear to be nines. It does appear to be a standard Rops list.
Well,
At
let's
least.
see what this third effect is. Never know.
Oh yeah, good call. He doesn't actually play the third effect yet. But no, it's there.
Oh, okay,
It's
it's sensitive for rebellion.
yeah,
Okay,
yeah,
so
yeah.
it's like standard ROPs.
So
So this should be a pretty interesting match.
we will be seeing
Seeing some battles.
seeing some battles for sure.
Well, some of these guys are immune to attrition, right? Oh no, Yoda. Never mind.
No one's fully
Rude.
immune to attrition anymore.
Yep. So never mind on that one. Gimp Tom lamenting the fact that there are
They're
no
not
nines decks.
nines.
Yeah. There were some invasion battle droid rifles yesterday. I guess those weren't nines, but they were eights.
Yeah, okay. So what are we gonna see here? Well, that Mouse needs to win by 16, 17. It's gonna be a tough call.
Yeah, 17.
And so we're gonna be looking at him needing to probably be pretty aggressive to the ROP sites. He's definitely gonna need to grab Gek. I think that's pretty essential here. And he's gonna want to really try to line up some beatdowns basically. Because the Gek looping is what's gonna keep ROPs in this.
Yeah.
And so conversely, obviously Hayes knows he can play pretty safely. He's just going to likely try to get a strong firm hold on Ralltiir. It might not even necessarily care too much about quickly flipping, because if you flip too quickly, you could leave yourself open to some Qui-Gon or Mace beatdowns. So he's probably going to want to secure both his sites as well as a Radu system. Eridu, can probably expect a shuttle package to back it up. And then also, Batmouse's space when you start squadron assignments basically says he's playing red 5.
Yep.
Looking red 5 by a lot of sevens in his deck.
And Camino. We know he's probably going to play Camino.
Camino. Yep, gonna pull Camino. one thing I'll say is that both these players are, known for playing some unusual cards, right? And Hayes is not going to just pull up a solid 60. He likes to play some interesting tech cards. We've seen with like intruder missiles, or yesterday's bringer before me had human shield in it. So let's definitely keep an eye out for what those cards can be. ROP's a deck that continues to be pretty strong even after we've errated it. It's actually pretty interesting. These are two decks that were recently errated. ROP's with a little bit of a tone down, basically to just stop infinite looping with like close call. And then also the 2-0 Ralltiir system, so that if you can get to drain to it, you have a good drain foothold. And then communing is toned down was that basically you don't have fully immune Jedi's. Yeah, it's possible we're going to see two ROPs in the finals of that mouse, or Stubbly can't make up these differentials. Could be a lot. Could be a lot of ROPs on camera today.
Yeah, no one's ever truly gone.
ROPs appears to not be truly gone. So I think not counting out the mouse, not counting out Stubbly either. Stubbly beat ROPs by 15 or so in a previous game, right? So this is an interesting thing. One nice thing about ROPs is in general it does have interactive games, right? So even though it can be pretty strong and hard to put away, I mean, we saw Stubbly kind of just lock it out effectively, right? Like, got into battles, projection the damage. And so it really kind of comes down to what it wants to do. Hayes and that mouse appear to be pointing at each other, maybe talking to Garrett about something. Not quite clear what the conversation's about here. I mean, you can beat ROPs by 17. The last couple time I've seen ROPs in situations like this, it's been not necessarily favorable. Mike Kessling beat Greg Shaw in the NPC top eight just a couple weeks ago with Hitko shield busting, which is another thing ROPs doesn't really want to see. All right. There's a handshake, and we're off.
All right, here we go.
Can't quite see Hayes' hand. Looks like he at least open-handed his sight and the Emperor. And
Vengeance.
yeah, Vengeance. Some red card there might have been Trample. And Bat Mouse, can't see his hand at all. We'll check in real quick and see how the other game's going. Looks to be a pretty solid back and forth here. Pretty standard Ender Shield pull. Grab an Oswald here. Moment of Triumph should be in Hayes' hand, not in the lost pile. Since Moment of Triumph downloads Eridu, it doesn't upload it, so I don't know if they'll catch that in a second or not. You do open hand it, you basically just net a life force. Okay, yeah. Executor Docking Bay and the street for Hayes. Just taking a moment to check his deck for some stuff. It is a decent activation next turn, Bat Mouse. Especially if Hayes would put an array do now. He could drop a Jedi turn 1. And there's going to be a little bit of a balance here for Bat Mouse when he needs to hold back guys for potential beatdowns because, again, I think the best way to win is to get a beatdown in it and then grab kick. But then conversely, he does want to keep Hayes not flipped. Once Hayes flips, it's going to be tough for Bat Mouse to actually get in good battles with the Destiny editions. Looks like Hayes is drawing just a couple cards. Did not, opt to play the P at turn 1. Maybe to play it safe. Doesn't,
Didn't play Radu either.
Didn't play Radu either. Unclear if it wasn't in his reserve or if it's a strategy that he's going for here. Not playing P8's pretty reasonable. You don't want to just be like, here's turn 1 Jin, knock out your P8, slow you down a ton or whatever. Especially when you've won by 17, you've got time. You see detention from Hayes. Always a good thing to pull quickly so you don't get burned by resistance transport getting Ray out for free. We do see the Communo site to go with, which might be, I don't know if Batmouse plays, maybe he plays Whisa's in addition, but he might just be playing these in like the 2-2 Naboo site and call it a day. And there it is. There's the 2-2 Naboo site.
Okay.
Which I don't.
Yeah, I don't love playing that right now.
Well, the thing is, he might simply need it for activation. You see Ray go there immediately. Immediately setting up a quick drain.
How do you feel about Ray going here instead of the Ralltiir?
I think he's trying to obviously put this pressure on Hayes, make Hayes need to flip. And so I don't hate it, right? I mean, the thing is that going to Ralltiir with just Ray really opens you up to like a Gears Blizzard beatdown later. And what I think he wants to do is just start draining for 3 here. He's going to get at least 2 turns of draining for 3 probably before he, or at least 1 turn of draining for 3 before he flips. And he's draining for 2.
Yep.
So
and Ray is pretty sweet here too because you get all the deck
manipulation. Right. You get the communing peak with Ray, so you're effectively looking at 2 cards.
Yep.
Very, very powerful. You see him do it right now. I think that was a Hujix combo, maybe. And he draws a different bottom card instead of that card. Yeah, and so a little bit of pressure on Hayes now. But he's got, again, he's got time and he's got a 17 differential. Hayes is going to activate, he activated 3, 7, 9, 11, 12 this turn. Probably not enough to flip. Not a safe flip here. Again, he has the advantage of being able to be cautious here. He doesn't need to set anything up until he certainly finds a Gek at least. And sort of gives himself some breathing. Move over on the other game just for a moment. Looks to be a pretty stable back and forth. Which Actually, if anyone wanted to jump into the game and look real quick, Vader has an uncontrollable fury on him. That's
Wow,
totally
so
fine.
even knowing about it, Charlie did run into the uncontrollable fury, huh?
Yeah, but he's on Death Star, so if he's not battling, he's at least um, he's at least running him off of those sites. Impressive if Connor is able to twice come back from double digits. Two
Yeah.
top ROPs players. And just to face ROPs again in the final.
That's if Hayes wins this.
That's if it Hayes wins, of course. Do not want to be presumptuous. 17 is a lot, but not unbeatable. It sometimes happens when you have a big lead, people play tight, and that, I think Hayes is a very strong player, and it might not necessarily be what happens to him. But you don't want to play too tight, right? If you play too tight, you actually can give your opponent openings. Fortunately, still very famous to this day. I remember our good friend Mike Kessling blowing a 32-point lead to MHT in the finals one time, or in the semifinals.
We don't talk about that anymore. I don't know what you're talking about.
Yeah. So you obviously gotta, you still 17 is well within the realm of a normal game. So you still have to play a normal game here. It's really more for the late game. You'd be like, okay, I can ease up or I can bunker up and make decisions. It's a handicap, but certainly not like Hayes is just going to draw some cards. It would be a pretty standard ROP string 2 here, regardless, but especially when he misses Iradu last time, it makes sense to take it. I guess he didn't miss it last time. I'm confused why that interrupt was played. No? I'm not sure. We'll see a pretty strict. I'm sure Batmass will drain for 3. No reason not to get that done. And then sort of just becomes a question of, does he try to expand into space now? Does he wait? I'm gonna guess he probably has some cannons to go with a X-Wing. We
Yeah.
see Fears get tutored up by Imperial Command.
Cannon's not great.
No, not
No,
with a Vengeance. Yeah, I mean
yeah, no,
that's why a lot of people play Vengeance.
okay, we
Interesting.
got
Bat Mouse
command grabbed.
grabbed command, which I don't know. If he doesn't have a second grabber, I don't love. I do think you need to grab. Obviously, the big thing that ROPS does is infinitely recurring kicks. And I think if you can have infinite recurring kick, that's a bad spot for him. It's going to make it basically impossible for him to get beatdowns with Jedi on Ralltiir, which I think will make it very difficult for him to win by the margin. To win by. Like I think you would grab maybe command in a normal game, wherein like a long, slow grind could be to your advantage, but not one where you need to have that ability to win large.
Right. I mean, if Anthony just goes Luke in space and says go, I mean that's not terrible. Now you're
It's
really
not
presenting.
it's not terrible, but ROPS could kind of just ignore you, right? And just go to its sites in the system. I think the problem is letting him have access to infinite pick just limits your options. But he might have a second grabber. Second grabber is pretty standard. So at the top we see Emperor, Canis, and the sand effect for Dark Side, which we will call rough, coarse, and irritating. Coarse, rough, and irritating. Just trying to take it a moment. I do agree Luke the space here would be pretty strong.
Yeah, you set up another drain of 2, get a retrieval of 1.
It's like yeah, and what's Camino's parsec?
I don't know actually.
Is it 5? Is that
5,
right? 7.
4 or 5.
So he can't go. So that basically splits Camino and Eridu with Ralltiir in the middle.
Oh, it's a
Uh,
7. Okay. Everything
so
is in parsec 7.
if he has there's some parsec advantages for Matt Mouse here, where if he can get a ship there, obviously Hanshui Falcon's the best one, right? Hanshui Falcon looks like he looks for something to find. Out of commission combo, Hujix, Jin, there's a ship, Qui-Gon, deflection, there's cannons, there's some Jedi lightsabers, there's a clash, double R2, Mace, Unita, Luke, Jedi Love, Fall of a Legend V. So it does look like some pretty interesting or standard type cards there. Out of commission could potentially be good if obviously against ROPs to just start removing cards from their lost pile potentially. And if you drew it out and out of commission that Emperor would be kind of funny.
Yeah.
But I think didn't see a second grabber there. So we'll see kind of what the plan will be for him. Hayes has got to be looking in the long term at that setup, at a system in a site, and get to that Camino 2.0. Right? The Camino 2.0 is very strong. There's Hanshu and Falcon to a redo, as we're saying, setting up Battleground site, Battleground system. Now Hayes does have plenty of force save and plenty of cards in hand. And now we do just see Batmouse drawing and leaving 2 force up. So Batmouse is definitely saying, come get me. And this might be a situation where Hayes goes to flip. We know he has the Vengeance in hand. If he flips, he can pretty easily remove Hanshu Falcon with just any Destiny. So plenty of things could come back at that, like a barrier, punch it, all sorts of potential moving to attack position. I guess that's not correct.
Yeah, that would work. I doubt he's playing punch it, but that would be pretty sweet.
Not really. I don't see punch it with Hanshu and Falcon, despite the fact that it's the sort of perfunctory space that everyone plays. That mess did go 4-0 with this yesterday. I think it is a pretty solid list. It's just a question of can you beat something by 17? A little bit bigger number. See Hayes' hand. There's at least a Turkin bounty there, a brother. Looks like a command. Oh, that's not his hand. What's happening? Verify for reserve. Okay. Obviously. Okay. So brother, trample, command. Pretty high destinies. So it's up brother. Couple fives, a 5 and a couple 4s. Looks like a very standard ROPs list from Hayes so far. So he's hiding some secret tech we've not seen it yet. Okay, he's going to spend some force. He's spending, looks like that was 7. This might be Vengeance. I do see a shuttle in his hand. He might have Shuttle Emperor. That mouse hasn't pulled a Goldenrod yet, which is a pretty standard card that you want to have in this matchup.
Yeah, he doesn't have sand effect either, right?
Does not have sand effect.
Okay, so
There's the shuttle.
yeah.
That mouse going for the shield. Might have a barrier though. He did leave a couple of force up. So if he does include the Emperor, go for 2. Said
No
Batmouse just
barrier, it
grabbed
looks like.
no barrier. You have to do it or not. Though potentially you barrier the pilot that goes on it. Right? So the next thing he does is add a pilot. Barrier that. Or you could just use
Is that Tarkin?
I
So
cannot tell. But it's definitely some Imperial and Vengeance. And not Vengeance. And Vengeance.
can we see now who that was?
I don't think you want to let it take back here after not seeing barrier.
Ozzel.
Osel. And if I was that mouse, I don't necessarily love allowing a take back there. I mean, once you play a character and it doesn't get barrier, I think it's a little awkward. But now Hayes is paying more to play Vengeance. So 2 4 7. Hyper Escape here would be quite the card.
Yeah.
I have to assume that Batmouse has something. Be wrong. But I would assume that you don't do this setup without kind of anticipating this sort of thing. You did pull through or do not, so that might just be after. There's the same. I mean, another thing, it could be just a very large commitment to space from Hayes, and then maybe he just opts to throw Luke Camino.
Yep.
Right? I mean, this is the
Yeah.
space package, right? There's nothing else besides this.
Yep. Just forcing Hayes' hand here.
Hayes is. We saw the verify, and on the verify, the only low destiny I think was a brother. Um, so he's clearing. If this battle goes through, he's clearing. So the question becomes: is there a trick? If there's not a trick, is
I mean,
there?
hyperscape would be insane here.
It would be. And Hyperscape's been seeing more and more play recently. Um, with Thrawn, obviously, it does have some value. And a reminder, Huntree fuck until the immune nutrition lesson 4 from the cap on Yoda.
Oh, so he does like punch it. So that could
Looks
be a
like we just
possibility.
saw battle and Destiny drawn. So
Yep.
it looks like
Okay.
we're
So there's
not seeing punch
power
it and we're not seeing hyper escape. So we're just seeing.
and a few maneuvers. Okay. So not
Okay.
so effectively 10 power there.
So 18 power. He's going to lose a force of vengeance, I believe. Yeah.
I would assume. Yeah.
So lose a force of vengeance. He does clear off 10 worth of attrition. That's going to be an Emperor, I'm sure. See if there's a vengeance ping reminder. Yeah, he should lose the force of vengeance before he loses the punch outcome. Just get Hayes to put a bunch of cards in play.
Yep. And he's not really advancing his.
Loses a Hoojix off the top. Probably not the end of the world for Batmouse there. Didn't really advance too much there. It's going to be several turns until he actually has a setup. He loses Emperor and Batmaster. Did Batmouse not draw a 10? Be Emperor +1, right?
No. The first one was a power.
Oh, of course. My bad.
Yeah. Yeah.
I don't know if Hayes is sidetracked here, but I mean, he's what he wants to do now. The game's going to shift, right? So it's going to shift where he's going to need to be now on the ground, right? He's like, okay, cool. I've cleared you out of space. Luke can retrieve a Camino, but we'll see. I think we're in for kind of a long game here.
Yep.
Luke retrieves a Camino, but then Hayes is now going to shift to setting up the sights on Ralltiir to flip. And then also start draining with a spy at the 2-0. That's going to be Hayes's kind of game plan here. Again, he needs to lose by 15. So Yeah, I'm sure there's a dark maneuvers in there too. That's right. So he can definitely get over the Communing. We see him get. How does he get the mitt into hand? Am I missing something?
Uh,
What is mitt doing there? Do we know?
how is he pulling Bithrondu?
Yeah, I don't know.
Does anyone know?
It's not command because it's already grab. Obviously, you can't command if he's an admiral anyways, but it's not like a misplayed command. Piet, thank you.
Yeah, okay.
That's right. He open handed the same. We see a Blizzard Scott 1 with an old school text box who's lost to a drain. Is he a commander? I assume he is. Yeah, Chiz commander. Chiz, Chiz commander. Do a quick verify on Batmouse's deck. Kind of went by there quickly. Anakin. Yeah, what are you looking for me? Classic commander. Writing up the right. I'm sure there's a dark maneuvers in there. Pretty standard for how so dark maneuvers. But we do see the R2 and Luke. Not retrieval Luke.
Okay. Rebellion's help Luke.
Yeah. So I'm sure Hayes is very happy to see that. You're up by 17. Your opponent will not be retrieving a bunch. There's 3 p.m. So, with a decent, and it looks like Hayes is about 3/4 up, decent sized hand, which means he's going to feel pretty comfortable to go ahead and flip, which would then give him a drain of 2 at Arraydu. Yeah, it's going to be a pretty solid defense posture for Hayes. Sounds like he has Decree non-Bs, what Joe's mentioned in the chat, which is really going to just shut down the drains. Should be a pretty, again, as we were saying kind of earlier in the chat, this is where not grabbing the Gick, I think, was a chat, or grabbing Gick. Yeah, not saving your grabber for Gick, I think, might end up hurting that mouse later. I think when you
Yeah.
have to beat someone by 17, you really need to have the beatdown option available. And so the fact that he uh, did not give himself that option here is going to be challenging. Does have Hunter and the Falcon back, but the Hunter and Falcon is not really going to be doing too much once he flips as Destiny's plus 4 with the shuttle there and 3 sites. And then if that mouse tries to come after those individual sites, hitting 1-on-1 with Jedi into the sites, he's not going to be able to really do too much. They're going to get cleared by attrition. So we see.
What is that site?
I think that is it the Yavin 4 docking bay? Is it?
Interesting.
No, I can't quite tell.
It doesn't look like a Ralltiir site.
No, it did not look like a Ralltiir site. It might be, yeah, Yavin 4 docking bay. Just saying.
Okay, just like a backup plan
For Decree.
Decree.
Yeah, it's just for Decree.
Okay, for Y4 ops. That makes sense.
Just taking a moment here. He's calculating out his turn to see where he wants to deploy guys. Check the other stream real quick, see how that game is going. Kind of hard to tell if,
Yeah, I can't see the
yeah,
life
because you can't see the
force.
life force. Connor does look fairly low for a game he needs to win by 17.
But
So
it doesn't look like Charlie has any space presence.
no, he does. The shuttle's up there at area 2.
That's Ralltiir, right? Not Eridu?
No, if you look at the far right, he has another one too.
I think. Oh, okay. Emperor shuttle. I see it.
So we see a sand come down. We're not thrilled that he needs to flip with this sand because he probably might want that extra spy to go to 2-0. We might have another spy, right, sister? Apparently, Connor has 26 in life force and Charlie has 17.
Wow.
So it is.
Yeah, Connor might pull this out again.
Wow, be quite impressive. Yeah, definitely unfortunate that for Hayes it is, but it is hard out there. These are a couple of the weaker guys to set up, so definitely give some opening for Mason Qui-Gon. Yep, and there's DVD lots, and there's the flip. Obviously, going to be forcing some action here. So with the flip, he's got a obviously Destiny's +4. The Ralltiir shuttle there. Vengeance will be draining for 2. We see Mithron Do is getting added to the shuttle, which definitely certainly increases the odds of what we're talking about with dark maneuvers. Kree V does not appear to be out, Justin. I know Garrett can hear me on stream, so he'll send me a message. But just looking at the effects on the small screen there, I don't see Decree. Or Decree not be. I want to say Decree. You see shuttle retreat over to Iridu. No, I meant non-B. Sorry.
I'll be right back.
We saw a shuttle retreat over to Iridu, which I'm a little surprised by, as we've been discussing. Be a strong move for it to get over to Camino if necessary. But again, he just needs a defensive posture, right? He only needs to lose by 16. And so no need to get too risky in space. It'll be a kind of a decisive turn for Batmouse. He needs to kind of force some action somewhere here. We'll see a drain of 3 total, 1 at Camino, 2 at the 2-2. Further off the top, the squadron assignment up the top. And looks like that's Pride off the top. kind of flashing some cards in hand there. No, couldn't quite catch what he was showing. I think there's at least another Emperor in his hand, in Hayes' hand. Can't really see Badhouse's hand from here. That mouse going with Padme in front of Vader. Obviously cancels this game text. And I cannot tell who that is. That might be an AI. I do not recognize it. If anyone can help say who that is. That's Anakin. Thank you. And Leia. Oh, CRG Anakin. Thank you. And Leia. So big battle here. I would expect by now we'll find a Gik from Hayes. So even if I don't think he will be causing overflow, but if he did, he'll be safe there. But Leia is good. She does move as react. Could be trouble if he draws a 6, being able to 9. Looks like a free battle is being initiated. Yeah, so they add with Vader. So we're looking at 2 Destiny draws, each at +1 with Anakin. Attrition, if you so wish to. We've seen Batmouse come out at Vader with a Leia, an Anakin, and a Padme.
Okay, it's a pretty good stack there. 2 Destiny Attrition.
Mm-hmm. Well, the Destiny Attrition is fairly irrelevant. I'm pretty sure the Vader is going to get cleared.
Fair, but does cancel game text.
We see Hayes going for the Master.
Yeah, this is where you were talking about.
Yeah, I mean, not even sure if this would be an overflow battle to begin with. Also, this looks like it's just a verify, so it might mean that he has the Gik in hand, or I missed it earlier. He lost the Gik and has a swap. Hayes letting us see his deck there. There was a few maneuvers in there, I believe, or dark maneuvers, I think. It'll be interesting to see here with this battle. If you can, after clearing, you have 2 characters, you move in front of Visan, and you're only eating a drain at 2 next turn, because Iridu will not be controlling 3 Imperials. Looks like a Destiny 1, and a Destiny 2 with Anakin, and a Destiny 8 with Anakin. I'm looking at, what would it be, 1821 power, to a Destiny 5, to an 11.
I mean, so Badhouse could theoretically flip ROPs this turn, but then you put your guy at a non-battleground system, so.
Yeah, I don't think the flip would
not great.
Matt with a snarky comment that all of the cards that Batmouse put out say Vader in game text, or are in fact Vader with Anakin. Vader is yes, because he stands there. So yes. So Vader is 1621 totals with Vader covers. And it was a 10 drawn on 1621. Yeah, 21. I believe it's 21 and 21. I might be doing
What is that Destiny?
The Destiny is sister, so she's a 5 with ROPs. The total Destiny is 5 with ROPs.
Okay.
Vader's power is 7, and he's forfeit 9. So Vader would cover basically a net total of 21, and I believe that is exactly Batmouse's current total. 3 plus 3 plus 5 plus 8. And Padme and Anakin going in front of Yusan could work out well. Obviously, he continues to have 3PO and Rey to dig and find cards. Looks like he did Gick.
Yeah.
So it might be he's
Oh
swapping
no, I think he swapped Gick for sneak
for sneak
attack.
attack. Okay, thank you. Yeah, so he didn't need it, as we were saying. Yep, lost Leia, lost Vader.
Sneak attack is a really annoying card.
Sneak attack is a very good card.
Okay, no move, just leaves him there.
I
I like
love
that.
that. Yeah, because now he's going to eat a drain of 4 next turn. This will let Hayes just reinforce these sites, making it even less likely he's ever going to have a chance to fit in with that. I think you kind of have to move. At the very least, you block 2 damage. Pretty safe from overflow.
Yeah, you're in a lot of trouble if Hayes can track like a 6 and just clear both these guys.
Exactly. But I think, yeah, I mean, basically he's taking 2 more damage this turn. I mean, Sand's basically kind of a blank. I mean, Hayes isn't tracking a 6. His deck's been shuffled. Trample is an issue. Wedge and Meditation are lost. Meditation obviously can be recurred with Qui-Gon. As Justin's pointed out, we saw a couple tramples on the verify. There might be one in hand, Cutwell's noticed.
Does he have a walker in hand?
I have not seen his hand clearly enough to say. But Hayes is going to be feeling pretty good. Matching damage in the game. Maybe won the first one pretty big.
Okay, so there's Blizzard
There's
8.
a walker, yeah.
With fears, okay.
Not necessarily the strongest. Well, if you didn't shuffle the Master Flame Tramples, that's going to be really bad for Batmouse. If this lives through, obviously Padme Anakin's pretty good to clear Veers. If the trample goes through, obviously. We also know that Batmouse has a Hoojix in his lost pile. I think we saw a Hoojix combo in his hand, but I'm not sure.
Hayes is looking at his stuff in space. I don't know what.
Just
Soon as he's
admires,
gonna move in front of Luke.
just admiring what he has. But he still can't move in front of Luke yet, even with dark moves. He's still, I believe, too far away.
Oh, because Vengeance can't make it, right?
Vengeance from Ralltiir can't even make it, and the shuttle would need to be from Ralltiir with dark moves to make it.
Okay, so no battle from
No
Hayes.
battle from Hayes.
I think that makes sense considering he has that sneak attack in hand.
Yeah, it's just well, sneak attack in hand can set up the high destiny, though even with that, it's +3 and he draws 2. So it's feel pretty good about clearing it off. Makes it very difficult now for Batmouse to come back and flip him too.
So Hayes losing 3 to 4 strains here. I assume it's 3. It's hard to tell if he played Decree or not.
I believe Decree is still not in play. Now we see Trample.
Okay.
This is going to be
6. So
6 in tracks.
Padme's dead.
Or Padme.
Joe pointing out that.
Yeah, TTU would be an issue.
Yeah.
And then
So
he's
Jedi
Jedi Loving
Padme.
Guy Padme. Again, now we're just kind of Batmouse is trading resources just to get back to where he was. Right.
Yep.
Still not the situation you want to be in when you're down by a large amount. Padme comes back out. And even if assuming this battle goes through, you're still basically only going to be clearing off years. You're probably getting cleared off.
Yep.
And then eating a drain of 4 again next turn.
Also now Hayes has that 6 tracked.
Mm-hmm.
So moving in front of Isard is also going to result in you losing 2
Imperial
guys.
Command was grabbed by Batmouse. I don't believe Hayes has used his grabber yet. I mean, he'll clear out the Walker and Veers, but
he's probably going to get cleared himself.
He's very likely to get cleared, right? All he has to do.
So it's kind of like
between Veers drawing 2 and adding 3. Yeah. I mean, he has sneak attack too. So here comes that Qui-Gon. Take a second. Might as well go to Yasan. Easier to. Doesn't. Less power.
So he goes after Isard instead of Nine Sister.
Yeah.
Which is the site that adds to power?
The one the sister's at.
Okay, yeah, I would have.
Well, she's like 2 less power. I mean, we do know that obviously Hayes has the kick, so he can swap out into kick.
Oh yeah, I know it's the office, but it's hard for me to tell the pictures.
The question is, do you kind of just chill back and not battle? I feel like that might be stronger here. You've plugged up the drain at Iridu to be a 1, the street's a 1, so now you're taking 2. The street does look like a street. I agree.
Okay, it's a good way
Pretty
of
wide open.
remembering that.
Office doesn't really look like an office.
Office is the one with the stormtroopers.
Yeah, well, because you can't make it look like an interior site, so you don't look inside the office.
Yeah. Joe's saying Batmouse way ahead here. Justin agreeing with him. There's a react from Tempest 6.
Mm-hmm. Just some forfeit. Batmouse going with 4.
A 1.
And 1.
Brutal.
So that's still 6 attrition. So that gets 2 things. He's drawing 7, 8, 9, 10 total.
Did he sneak attack?
He did not sneak attack, I believe. I don't think he would have sneak attacked, but a sneak attack. But he still draws high enough to clear, and he's looking at a swap. He does get the Imperial, right? So he did draw a total of 6, so he does still need to lose Fears in the Tempest, which does knock out the Drain +1 at the Ralltiir.
The PD was 4, and then he drew base for the attrition.
Mm-hmm.
So we're looking at 6 attrition here.
It'd be 6 attrition.
For Hayes.
So, but that's just Veers because the sun's at the office.
Interesting. Loses Anakin. It must have been 8 attrition from Hayes. Okay. And then Padme moves over with Qui-Gon. Yeah, so now it's only 3 because the righty's turned off.
Mm-hmm. We'll get 3-3.
I wonder how much life force that mouse is working with.
Yeah, it'd be good to get a life force count at some point to get some idea here. Charlie won, so Charlie has advanced.
Okay, so our first finalist, Charlie Arlinson. Searching for his first major.
Yeah, Charlie Arlinson going into the finals. Congratulations to Charlie. Sounds like he had to sweat it out a little bit uh, in the second game, even though he was up by a decent margin. Rescue the Princess gave him a run for his money.
So Phil's predicting about 23 in Batmouse's deck. So yeah, still got a game here. A 27, okay. I trust Phil. Whatever he says, I trust him.
Hayes does seem a little low just from the counting that he did there. Obviously, a little too fast for me to see.
Is Reddit the new nickname for Ray, Justin?
Yeah, Chuck Vader taking out Ray would definitely change things a lot here.
Okay. So Bad Mouse takes 3 here.
It
So
is Rebellion's Hope in space, Jared. So not Retrieval Luke. Retrieval Luke would definitely make this an even closer game.
yeah.
It's Rebellion's.
Okay, and here's
There
Chuck
it is.
Vader.
Yeah, there's Chuck Vader. So with attract 6, that's going to be a tough spot. Need the Bith shuffle right here. Nope.
It's really good to see the return of Chuck Vader.
Chuck Vader has definitely been a dominant card in the meta
Yeah.
in the last year or
Hasn't
so.
always been that way.
People have realized that tracking a 6, pretty strong. See Batmouse retrieve Anakin Saber. And we see a split up and a runaway from Padme and Qui-Gon. So we'll see a couple more damage next turn from Batmouse.
If Bad Mouse could assemble another shift and move to Ralltiir, that's pretty good for him.
It looks like Hayes is going to be preemptive
Oh,
about that.
okay. So he's proactively
Yeah.
running that. Heads up play from Hayes.
Yeah, Hunter and Falcons. Get over there and not really contest as much. You might eventually have to put something out to Urdu, but you kind of see the options sort of slipping away here for Batmouse, I think.
Yep.
This is not a good spot where he can get in. You know, obviously with Gick being infinite recurs, makes it very hard for him to kind of to get in some damage.
Yeah, where's Bad Mouse's Doomblade when he needs it?
I don't know if he's used Yoda retrieval fill. I think he might have just used Walkling first.
Although to be fair, if Vader was in Magic, he would probably be black, I assume. All right, Kid Fisto.
It's, with Anakin.
And then there's Anakin. We know that Anakin Saber's in the deck.
Yeah. But Destiny +3 here, which means if a 9 or if a 6 comes up, it becomes a 9.
Also, K's gonna be able
Oh,
to
but
put that.
he can subtract 2 from attrition. Right, of course. The attrition subtract him. The attrition subtract him.
But Hayes is gonna put that 6 on top, so it's gonna be a 9 -2, 7. So yeah.
7, so you don't have to lose.
So you lose
Kit.
Kit.
That keeps Anakin there. We see a swing, which is obviously gonna knock out the sister. Let's see if we all remember together how that Yoda's tracks your nutrition. So Hayes has maybe 3 cards in hand or so.
Okay, there's Sneak Attack.
Which adds a destiny, so that's the key, right? Of course. So the adding of the destiny.
Oh, because yeah,
that'll get him to
this,
enough friction. Yeah, that'll get him.
That mouse rolls a 5, which is a 6.
So it's 4.
4 plus what is Min?
4.
Is Min also a 4?
So he's 11 total attrition.
Yeah.
So even subtracting 2 does not get him there, unless he has a they're tracking us right here. Yeah, sneak attack should be out of play. Garrett, when you get a chance, put that sneak attack out of play. I think we're counting again to verify that we have an 11.
What's making it out of play?
Insignificant Rebellion puts lost interrupts out of play.
Oh, yeah.
That's why I like Moment of Triumph is sitting over there. I think Garrett will. I think he's listening, so he knows. Garrett says,
Okay. Got it.
Yep, they got it. Yeah, yeah.
Bad Mouse can now flip Hayes.
He can.
So lose these two guys and just moves somebody over.
Mm-hmm.
Is it not 3 from ROPs, Joe?
Yeah, it's +3 from Hops.
Yeah.
System 2 seconds.
But Bad Mouse can still move Padme over.
Padme can move. Yeah, move Padme. I'm sorry, it's pretty move Padme.
Yep.
Flips.
There's the flip.
Hayes needs to flip.
Yep. Yeah, he should have flipped there after that move. Yep. Okay. There we go.
Yep, lost one in mid. So now we're looking back at drains, but now he still has that energy drain because Vader's out there. So drains of 4. Yeah. Not the position that mouse must be in here.
Also, that is the saber that does not add to drains.
Correct. Yeah, I think at this point we're probably just playing out the stretch. I think it's a little too much here.
Yeah, that Vader choking ray was what kept Hayes in this game.
It's going to be a pretty exciting final between 2 top players, Charlie Arlinson and Hayes Hunter.
Yeah.
Be a couple of interesting matchups too. 0 Hour versus ROPs, and Obi-Muting versus ROPs.
Yeah, I hope you guys aren't tired of ROPs. Well, this list from Hayes it's got some spice to it, you know, with the sneak attacks.
Yeah. Lice count. Oof, I don't think I have any lice. Yeah, we see Hayes going wide here.
Yep. Flips again.
Both flips again, and also now this should be a pretty quick confession.
It's elementary at this point.
While there is no official release date for the next visa yet, we certainly do want to have it out, I think, in time for Worlds. And we do want to be respectful to give people plenty of time to test and prepare for Worlds. So I think realistically early summer, but we shall see.
I'm gonna step away, Drew. Eat some food that just got delivered.
Okay, I'm not going to do the finals.
Okay.
Dan is going to hop back on for finals, so I'll stick around until we go to break. So we're just sort of not much more action left in this game for anyone joining us. Hayes Hunter won the first game by 17, and it's a pretty strong position here. Not knowing actual lice totals, it's possible that Hayes might actually be able to win the game straight up, but even if not, he's certainly representing enough damage at this late stage. He's not really in any risk of losing by 17. Yeah, Batman's already at maybe approximately 16 life is what Phil is estimating. Bathhouse. See a mace with a saber coming against a sand. Won't really matter. It's going to be adding 4 to the battle destiny. Oh, thanks, Brad. Appreciate the comment. Clever remarks in chat about excitement to keep watching ROPs and watching out that profit's not too good. Looks like I'm putting a little bit of count on use pile here. Mace with saber, staring down his hand. We want an anti-profit or anti-ROPs deck. Sounds like what we saw in the first round. Connor overcome a 13-point differential to beat Greg as Rescue the Princess, and then it sounds like he almost overcame a 17 differential against Charlie on ROPs. So Connor was able to at least beat ROPs a couple times to Rescue the Princess. So obviously, one can discuss the merits of a sort of RPS meta where Rescue the Princess beats some decks and loses terribly to others. Jin coming out to block a drain, which again is basically just a lost force going out. Just going to kind of, as mentioned, play out the stretch here a little bit. Amount of damage on table, pretty strong for Hayes. Mace is going to hit Isam. Masterful move. No more Dejericks in the deck. He'll shuffle up. Low Destiny's there. He draws the Yavin docking bay. Mace would survive. But regardless, the amount of cards in play, pretty bad. So you can draw a 7. San is power 3. He did draw a 1. Let's swap out on that. Margins of 1, which is a total of a 4. 3 Imperials are Ralltiir. So looks like Hayes is going to be swapping out for his kick. This is Sam and kick. Comes back next turn with the drain of 4. No, I was counting the system. The blizzard doesn't count. So she's, oh, sorry, you're right, +4. That was counting the system. So, yeah, she was a 5. But Obviously, need to draw six to clear mace. Count. So Hayes, I saw this just a few minutes ago. Hayes has 11 in life, 3 in hand. Batmouse has 16 in life, 4 in hand. We're basically at the point where Batmouse cannot be losing any more force. You see a trample here. You see trample. Padme gets trampled. Trample a card I kind of wish was unique or lost or had a better counter or something. Kind of infinite looping of tramples is a little much, I feel. That mouse looks like he lost all the remaining cards in his hand. Probably gets us closer to a in-game state. He's moving the Walker, kind of mace. No force up for Batmouse, so if he wants to move move Elspeth in front of Mace 2, he could do that. Jen can't move around. I don't think he needs to. Again, we're at the point where the differential is already 16 in life for Batmouse. So we're sort of just enjoying some chill time here. Batmouse is activated. Three PO. I don't see code clearance out yet, so maybe if he on the edges of his loop, drop to 7, get some force. Try to get back in the game. Drain. There's a couple cards from hand for Hayes. It is interesting. Seen ROPs played 3 times now, and all 3 times it did get close. Well, lost twice to rescue the princess, and I think if Batmouse was playing a game here where he didn't need to win by 18, he could have won this game too. So, I don't know how. It's just kind of an interesting kind of wrinkle here. But basically, the light side decks have been just pummeling. And all that'd be now 4 matches that have been played out. Light side won very handily. Whereas ROPs is doing a good job of losing by like 3. Which I think is kind of, like I've said before, a little indicative of where I feel the meta is right now. Where light side is very varied. There's a lot of good deck options. I think we're seeing a lot of ROPs in part because blood is obviously very powerful. Dark side is lacking some of the good options. Yeah, so we do get a flip back because Elspeth has lost before Jen. But we're still looking at drains of 4. Fall of Legends, you can pick a card up. For anyone who's still tuning in here at these kind of last minutes of the game, we're sort of playing out the stretch before that mouse does not quite appear to have enough to eke this one out. So we'll be looking at a Hayes Hunter Charlie Arlington final matchup of 0 Hour versus ROPs and Obi-Comm versus ROPs. Yeah, I mean, those bad mouths has got some on the edge that he's going to start doing to get his life total back up. We can firmly consider him short on cards. It's too bad. I mean, kind of going back to that first game, I think if he'd played a slightly more conservative game as SYCFA, he might have been able to get that to a good single digits. And then, I mean, he had some good lines here versus ROPs. You know, he had a couple good battles. He had the quick early pressure. So I do think it's possible with a kind of a different approach, he might have been able to make this a closer match. But still, a fantastic run from Batmouse, who's now made the Final Four in the 2 big active tournaments this month. Obviously here in Minnesota, and also the one who seeds for his own GIM PC. It's very impressive run he's been on these tournaments. So definitely exciting to see, as Brad has mentioned, Batmouse is really leaps and bounds. It's been very impressive with this play. Yeah, it's funny. We've always, kind of joking about, a Batmouse deck. He's just playing some random bad cards and weird stuff, but he's been putting it together, and he's been creative with it too. I mean, that SYCFA list is, that's something that he's built, and same for this communing list, right? This Yoda communing list is not some standard pre-built deck.
All right, I'm back.
Cool. So kind of playing out the stretch here.
I assume Batmouse is below the threshold.
Yeah, he's below the threshold here, so I think he's just
just playing for the win.
Yeah, or he's not required to concede. And as we were saying earlier, it's been interesting. As I was saying earlier, it's been interesting. ROPs has basically lost all of the games it's played in this up until now. So Connor beat it twice as Rescue the Princess, and I think Batmouse is kind of like, look, I'm going to lose this, but I'm playing one of the best players in the game. I want to see kind of what this rest of this game would look like a little bit, right? There's no reason, and we're talking about also how great Batmouse has gotten in the last year. I mean, he's really upped his game a lot.
Oh yeah,
and so,
for sure.
This is just another great learning experience.
It's one of the hottest players right now.
Well, yeah, he's top 4 now. He's top 4 this. He top 4 the GIM PC. And so, doesn't have a way to win. Looks like he's looking at his force kind of sadly. We're gonna see the handshake here. Yeah, I think, like you're saying, he might go back and look at that first game against Hayes, and there we go. There's a handshake. Well, congratulations to Batmouse for a really well played event, and congratulations to Hayes Hunter, finalist.
Yeah.
Moving on to face Charlie Arlington, probably in just
Yeah,
a
this
few
should be a
minutes
really
here.
good,
Yeah,
really
should be
good
a really
match.
exciting matchup. I think be a couple really good interactive games between ROPs and 0 Hour and ROPs and Obi-Comm. At the very least, we know there'll be some battles and positioning and a lot of strategy that you can expect from 2 of the top players in the game right now. So thanks for having me on. I really enjoyed the last couple of days of doing commentary. It sounds like in 15 minutes we'll be starting the finals. I'm going to hand it over, I think, to Dan the Man to Targaglion to the booth up here with Jeremy. But it's been good chatting with everyone. Been good to watch these games, and excited to see the final.
All right, thanks for joining us, Drew.
Yeah, thanks.
It's a good
Thanks,
time.
Jeremy. It's been a great time chatting with you. See you.
Have a good one.